What's up, guys? Welcome to Keto Rewind. I'm Jess, and I'm back with another fun video. Today's topic, I'm going to cover two things. The first one is, I see this a lot in all of my social media platforms, and I wanted to address it. And the main thing is our taste buds, or what we like pre-keto, change once converting or switching to a ketogenic lifestyle. And the second thing is, when you find yourself at hitting a wall with the ketogenic diet, on whether you can make this a commitment, or, if you're new to the diet and you're running into all kinds of hurdles, what to do. So let's start with the first one, taste. Now, when I, as a recovering sugar aholic, I don't know, whatever. I'm a sugar addict through and through, and sugar still haunts me to this day, even though it's been 8.5 months since I switched to a ketogenic lifestyle. Obviously, I switched because I had to cut sugar out of my life. So going into this, when I used to eat a meal that had sugar, full, regular, traditional diet, high carb, high sugar, low fat, like dinner item. Say, for example, pasta, macaroni and cheese. It was getting to the point where the taste of that macaroni and cheese was so bland, but I still wanted it. It was really weird. And it was hard to explain, but I would eat a dinner and I would be left unsatisfied, even though I just had those foods that I would consider myself obsessed with. I'd kind of just be like a blah, why'd I just eat that? One of those type feelings after I ate it. So after switching, this was how I would be. So after switching to a ketogenic way of eating, at first, any of the alternate or alternative sweeteners like erythritol, stevia, monk fruit, at first, when I switched to those sweeteners, my first instinct was, ew. I did not like them. I swear, I didn't like them at first. So, but in the first part of my keto journey, I stuck to the plan, and I was very strict, counting all the macros, limiting or barely having any cheese or dairy, and just sticking to proteins and green leafy vegetables. So initially, I was very clean and very strict. So it was like carbs to super clean keto. So my taste buds were like, whoa, it's been so used to being oversaturated with sugar and flour and carbs, to completely ripping that out to real food. So that initially, the 2 weeks, I was still wanting that bland food, full of sugar, for a solid 2 weeks since I converted to keto. It wasn't until week 3 that my taste buds changed. So, and I'm sharing this because this was a turning point in the diet. I felt I needed at least 3 weeks of keto to be able to even give this way of living a fair shot at seeing if it was something I could do or not. Because if you go into keto and think that it's gonna just overnight change you, you're in for a real surprise, because so many reasons. The first one being, the world's not set up to be keto friendly. We're a glucose, high carbohydrate type world, So I'm saying in general. I know there's certain areas of the world that do more Mediterranean based or keto. But I'm saying in general, especially the States, it's not set up to make this an easy transition. So you're exposed to abundance of commercials of sugar, restaurants, sugar, commercials for those restaurants, sugar, and you're just, grocery stores to everything. You're exposed to sugar. So initially, when you're starting out to change your way of eating and switching to a ketogenic diet, you will go through I cannot believe I made it my first 2 weeks without cheating, because I feel like if I was exposed to any sugar those first 2 weeks, I totally would have fallen off of the bandwagon. I cannot believe I made it through my first 2 weeks. It was so hard to be strict and convert. But then week 3 happened, and all of a sudden the foods that I was tasting started to taste good. And then also waking up feeling amazing. It was like I was shown the light. Like it was my aha moment of why I said bye to my best friend. Sugar, carbohydrate, pasta, like all of those friends. But what I'm trying to say is initially my taste buds were not welcoming keto. Even though I wasn't even satisfied eating sugar, I still wanted those things because commercials, advertisements, posters, grocery stores, restaurants, everything was telling me I wanted sugar. So I wanted sugar. Everything was there. But it wasn't until I took that completely out of my diet and did the ketogenic lifestyle that I was able to get that aha moment. Now, fast forward. Now, 8 months into my journey, I've warmed up to stevia, monk fruit, erythritol. Those are my now go-to sweeteners. When I initially started keto and would make the keto approved recipes using those natural alternative sweeteners, I initially didn't like it. I picked apart and be like, ew. I kid you not, I was not a fan of those when I first started. It wasn't until I was about 3 months in that I now enjoyed those tastes. And each month beyond that, and I think it has to do with just eating the same foods all the time, I went from a very adverse reaction to those sweeteners and wishing I could still have sugar to now I really like them. Now I cook with them. Now it's like I would use these sweeteners even if I wasn't keto. So I want to tell you to stay patient. Keep trying them, because right now, do you really not like keto sweeteners? Or is it your brain saying, I want sugar? And you're not giving yourself a fair shot, or your body or your taste buds a fair shot at that, because you keep sabotaging yourself because you're slipping up or letting it get the best of you, or you won't give it long enough to let your body adjust to be open to it again. So that's the first reaction. I know a lot of people, another example. So I get people asking about perfect keto protein bars all the time. And a lot of people love them. And that's usually people who've been on keto for a long time. Your taste buds are already used to stevia, erythritol, monk fruit. So it's not a big leap. And people who are adjusting or switching over new to this keto lifestyle, when you try those bars, you're not going to like them. I didn't even like them when I started eating them. I thought they were gross. But what I'm trying to say is your body adjusts. You just got to give it time, and you go back to actually tasting food again versus the bland, everything the color of white, white flour, white pasta, white rice, white bread, white sugar. That kind of just loses taste after a while. It just becomes sweet, and you don't really have flavor. So when you switch over, you start tasting again, and that's when you're like, oh, this is pretty good, But then the other thing is, this one cracks me up. A lot of people expect a keto protein bar or shake or whatever to taste like, let's make something easy, like say a candy bar, okay? A regular candy bar, like say Snickers. and say you get a snickerdoodle protein bar. You're trying to make something that's not a snickerdoodle taste like a Snickers. Like, or vice versa. Or something that's a Snickers, you're expecting that flavor. Well, you're not having a Snickers, you're having a snickerdoodle. So you can't give it like a fair, I think the expectations of it to be something that it's not is, this is a completely different way of eating. You can have a similar, goal, like cinnamon, but to make something actually taste like something that's really toxic and horrible for you in a healthy form, come on now. You're going to find stuff that tastes great. You're going to find new things. Not everything about your life is going to be the same. You're making this huge change. The stuff that used to exist in the world, in your old world, is no longer going to be appealing to you. You're going to make new friends. And when I say like sugar, I refer to sugar as my friend all the time. Or my ex-best friend. Well, you're going to make new friends on the keto diet. And that's the cool thing. So just because you cut sugar, carbohydrates, bread, pasta, all of that stuff that you think you can't live without, and you bring in all these new friends that now things that you never thought would satisfy you are now becoming delicious. So it's like, but you can't expect that to just happen overnight. That's something that takes time. And it's not going to happen overnight. I can assure you, it was initially for me 3 weeks in just to even like think I could do this, and then it take 3, 4, 5 months into my journey before I even really enjoyed eating the way I did. So basically, that's what I wanted to say in this video. But also, when it comes to living with people that are in your house that are not keto, like say you have adult kids or maybe older kids or a significant other, somebody who's living with you that's not keto that may kind of be annoyed or eye roll when you do your keto thing. First of all, I would say you have to think down into your soul and find out, why are you doing keto? What's your reason? And if your reason is to change your health, and it's hard for you to stick to anything, and you're in this moment where you're letting these types of excuses derail you, I think it's time to dig deep into that soul and find out, why are you doing this? And if you are doing this for health reasons, that should be your excuse or your reason to your people that you are living with, that's why you're doing this, and they need to support you. They don't have to do it with you, because what you put in your mouth is ultimately decided by you, just as, I can pick what my kids have and all that, but that's because they're little. Eventually they're going to be older, and I'm not going to be able to, be in control. So it's important to show the healthy habits now while you can, to explain more than just a superficial, I want to lose weight. Well, that's a horrible reason. If you want to lose weight, but the main goal is to get healthy and to live as long as you can, to reverse type 2 diabetes, to to reduce your triglycerides and cholesterol and all that stuff, or maybe you have an anti-inflammatory type, autoimmune disease like arthritis, or some type of autoimmune disease like that it really does make a difference. I think you really need to sit those people down and explain why you're doing what you're doing, because you're going to need their support. You're going to need them to not bring stuff around you that's going to derail you. So it's different, like for me in our house, before, up until this point, we had a whole pantry set up where we have my husband and I side and my kid's side. And I don't really look at my kid's size other than to refill the pantry, but I always make sure when I go into my pantry, that's what I look at. And it may be as simple as something like that, where you have sections in your fridge that are your food, and your pantry has your section, so you don't look at where all the other temptation is. Because first of all, if you can't even make it through the temptation in your own house, you're not going to make it through the temptation of the big world. Because the minute you turn on the TV, the radio, go into a store, go into a restaurant, go into a grocery store, you're going to just be bombarded by sugar, and you have to figure out how to turn that off and not to be tempted by it. It's hard. It is absolutely hard. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying you have to find a way to tune out that noise and to remember your goals. Because if you can't make it through at home, not derailing yourself, you're not going to make it in the big world, outside of your home. So that leads me to my last point. If you don't think that you can make this commitment for your health, I think it's best that you do some soul searching and find a way to get healthy that maybe not is keto. Because this is something that it's not a quick fix. This is a complete change, an overhaul to your life. Nothing about your life that was before keto will convert to after keto. It's not. It's like, it's this point forward, it's new. And it's not anything like you have ever learned before. So think about those things and decide if keto is something that you can change and do and stick with. And if the thought of staying where you are is miserable, is something that you feel so unhappy about, or I think the best way to say it is miserable. If your life's so miserable now in the way you are as of today, the change to something new, to get healthy, to begin loving yourself, to go on this journey might be like less scary than staying on the path that you are on. Because the path that you are on, where you're not loving yourself, you're not caring about your health, you're not making the effort, you're coming up with excuses. If that all is just there bringing you down, well, why not make that change? Why not take the leap and fight for your health, change your health, make the lifestyle change to a ketogenic lifestyle? Why not? So basically, that's my thoughts for today. I'm sorry I kind of rambled, but I hope you got the point or the gist of this video, and comment below, what do you think? I'll see you at the next video. I'm Jess, and you're watching Keto Rewind.